Good morning. Welcome to the June 23rd, Tualamis Utilities District General Board Meeting. Can everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
The board welcomes public attendance and comments on district matters. This section is reserved for items not on the agenda. The board may not discuss or take action on these items, but values and considers all input. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Would anyone like to speak? It is.
I have the microphone.
Yes, you can. Just pick it up. It's movable.
Won't start the clock yet because I'm not ready.
Okay.
All right.
Excuse me, Jeff, Director or President Hollis, if we could make sure that whoever speaks, be sure they're talking clearly into the microphone because
I'm really hard
it's
of hearing.
difficult to hear out here.
Please address
Okay,
me after
we'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, speak up if you don't hear that, Jeff.
Starts.
Go ahead.
Okay. Honorable board members, good morning. My name is Jacob Barnard. I'm here today to represent a legal mineral interest held by myself and my business partner, Tony Irwin. I'm here to pull back a curtain of what you can be described as a synchronized multi-million-dollar property theft and political revolving door within the Tuolumne Utility District and Tuolumne County and private developers. History is repeating itself. And the timeline fluctuates. According to information published by the Union Democrat back in 1976, Sam Kearns famously resigned from the Tuolumne County Planning Commissioner to protest the newly adopted Brown Act transparency law. He declared to the local press that the county does not need to know his business. Today, spanning an estimated 50-year time period. Excuse me, this is why I need to sit down. He declares to the local press that the county not need to know his business. Today, spanning an exact 50-year time period, father and son, his son, Jeff Kearns, sits as a vice president of the Tuolumne County Board. But unlike his father, the public knows the business and is light, and the light is finally shining on the good old boys club. Let's look at the facts of how the operation has materialized along this road. When it comes to the individual $700,000 contract and the $500,000 gallon Valley Vista tank, President Jeff Kearns and Director Glenn Jacobs had clearly, undeniably conflicts. Director Kearns had corporate conflicts because his private company, Yosemite Title Company, stands to make a fortune on title and escrow services for the subdivision. Director Jacobs, I'm working off an broken iPad, sorry. Yosemite Title stands to make a fortune on title and escrow services of the subdivision. Yosemite Title, Director Jacobs and has a family contract because he openly admits on the record that he has received relatives working on the direction of Valley Vista. When it came time to vote on the total district operation, they didn't step aside. on-
Thank you, sir, but that's the 3 minutes.
Pardon?
That's the 3 minutes. Thank you. We have, that's the end of the 3 minutes that you have to talk for now. The rest we'll have to do on a different time.
And when it comes to vote of the total operation, they didn't
No,
step away.
no,
on
that's,
time
sir,
In the public hearing.
sir, we need the microphone back.
I have to move to my end of my speech, sir. Give me one more minute, I beg you. I don't want to.
Sir, if you look around you, there's a lot of people here to speak today. I'm sorry, we got to keep it at 3 minutes.
Forum. Request this board to stop this meeting and listen to me. I think there's two people on this board. One is sitting, Jeff's sitting out there, not even here. This is a multi-million dollars
Good idea.
question to the board.
Okay.
Do I have permission from you, sir, or Mr. Jacobs? Proceed.
Mr. Barton, you want to, is there anything we want to weigh in on here?
No,
No, we're done.
this gentleman has used his
You have to sit
his
down.
allotted time, and we have other people that need to speak, and this is clearly identified on the agenda.
I've
that
worked
there's
on
only
this
3
project
minutes
for 10
available.
years.
Sir.
I talked to Barbara Bain 10 years ago and told her the same problem I'm facing you today.
At this
I'm-
point, sir,
okay.
you're disrupting the proceedings.
I'll go, I'm prepared to go to the grand jury.
You should leave.
And the political action committee and talk to them.
Sir,
So you
Can't be
can,
doing this.
so I have no right to speak anymore?
no, not at
Thank
this
you very
time.
much. Thank you folks for being a witness of the public meeting today. Most of the time, the people don't listen and nobody shows up at this board. Thank you. Thank you folks for being. Ask questions about why I'm here. Please, I need help. I'm-
Next speaker. Is there another speaker? Do we have anybody online? Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Randy Hanvelt. I represent TUCARE. I'm a member of the board and past chairman. I've been here before and you probably remember me. And my big request is for TUCARE TUD to consider membership at TUCARE. Now, what's come out of the meetings that we've had in the past where I've spoken before, and I thank you for that, is that we now have a TUD on our education program. And by the way, that is very popular and successful, particularly with our schools. That's a big deal. We found that education and natural resources is probably the biggest barrier to good stewardship. And the public just doesn't understand what's going on. And I think we see examples of that all the time, maybe including the man that was just speaking. Anyway, I am pleading again to have you agendize the topic of joining TUCARE. You're clearly the major purveyor of water in our county. Water is a natural resource, obviously, and you're a big void in our membership and our participation in our policy thing. You know, we do a lot of education. We also do political advocacy when things come up, and we need TUD's input into our TUCARE water policy program. Also like to encourage you to consider membership on the board, either a member of your board or your key member of your staff, joining us and participating at that level where we put together our program and make things happen. So I'd like to ask you once again to put it on your agenda and to consider becoming a member of TUCARE. By the way, we don't want your money, we want your participation. It's not a big amount of money anyway. It's only $130 for a corporate membership. So anyway, I'll leave you with that, and thank you for your time and for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Hanvelt. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on general subjects? Come on up. We'll have other times to speak on the things that are on the agenda too, so.
This is my first attendance at a meeting. I don't have a copy of your agenda, so I don't know whether I'll be out of order. I am a member of the Phoenix Lake neighborhood, and I have a specific question to the board. We were promised by TUD approximately 5 years ago at a meeting at Indigene that there was a special grant to clean up Phoenix Lake. For some reason, the work was stopped halfway through, and we were told it was because of lack of funds. I come from a generation where if you sign a contract, you meet your obligations. I would like to know specifically what TUD is going to do about the tules that are overrunning Phoenix Lake. We have lost, I would say, approximately 1/3 of the area, the surface area of the lake to tules. The algae is becoming terrible. You can't even take a boat out there anymore because it all gets stuck in the tules and in the algae. And I would like to know what the board is planning on doing. I have gone to TUD about 4 different times, and they said, sorry, we're out of money. Do whatever you want with the tules. Well, I'd like to get a big backhoe, have you folks drain the lake and dredge it completely like we were promised. And I'd like to know what you are going to do about Phoenix Lake. I don't know whether you are going to answer it at this point or table it for another date, but we want some answers. My wife and I would like to know, who do we contact? We just keep getting the runaround. And I realize I have another minute of time, but if my wife would like to get up and say something, I'd like to add my minute to her time. So thank you. Is there any way I can get some type of answer from the board? Do you have any plans on Phoenix Lake?
We can't answer in this time, but the general manager could talk to you.
Yeah, just go through Melissa, reach out to me, schedule time for you and I to sit down and discuss it. Melissa, the secretary.
There,
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do that now or after the meeting?
after.
Yeah, anytime. My phone call will work too.
Just give me the proper person to contact and the
Yes.
proper phone number. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else want to talk on general subjects? Is there no?
So can you tell me the point of us bringing up questions at this meeting if you're not going to answer us? What is the protocol to answering us?
Because we could only speak about things that have been agendized.
So why are you having people ask questions if you won't answer them? It's question and answer, that's usually the process. So what is the process of answering these questions?
Depending on the topic, you can maybe request through the board president or myself to have something agendized. And if we think it's needs to be agendized, we'll agendize it or send it to a committee and discuss it there.
And otherwise, when do you answer the questions or what is the protocol?
Quite simply, things have to be agendized for us to discuss them up
Yeah.
here. If it's a one-on-one you want to have with me or one of the directors, that's a different matter.
So do you tell people now at this stage whether or not you're going to
Going to,
agendize it?
Is it something that's on the agenda now?
I'm asking just this question.
Yeah.
I don't have a question about anything else.
Because we have,
Just want to know what the process is. I see people ask questions you don't answer. I've asked questions before. Didn't get an answer. And I wanted to know what your process is. Why do you have people ask you questions if you're not going to answer them? And if you're not going to answer them, if they're not agendized, then you should tell the person that when they ask it. It just seems like a ridiculous system.
yeah. It's
okay,
clear-
ma'am, I think Jesse Barton can help us with this. He's our attorney.
Yes, thank you.
Take a look.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, President Hollis. Yes, the way the Brown Act works is the board is not supposed to comment on items that are not on the agenda. The reason for that is it gives everybody in the public the opportunity to look at the agenda and see if there is a subject on the agenda that makes them want to come to a meeting and talk about it. So it needs to be agendized. It's not fair or appropriate or frankly lawful for the board to answer questions or embark on a discussion on an item that has not been agendized because there may be other people in the community who want to attend the meeting in person or online and participate in that discussion. So the purpose of public comment is to raise an issue, a public issue to the board directly so that the board may become aware of this issue And then through consideration, either with me or with Don, that item then can be put on the agenda for full discussion between the board and the public. That's why it's set up that way. Thank
Okay,
you.
and if it doesn't get put on the agenda, how do you answer that person that asked the question that's waiting for an answer from you?
If it can be handled at the staff level, it doesn't need to get agendized. I'm not sure what item it is that you want to talk
I don't
about.
have it, nothing, just
Oh.
this, your process, why do you ask questions when you're not going to answer them? Now, say I have a subject that doesn't get agendized. I've asked a question. Are you going to be courteous and answer me back and tell me, I can't tell you the answer to that question because you're not agendized? Give me some kind of a response, or what is the point of it? If you're asked the questions, because I've understood this to just be questions.
And
Not just
that's the end of our 3 minutes. But to wrap that up, we can have you talk to staff and then it starts that process. Anyone else want to talk in general subjects? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. Minutes, the consent calendar minutes.
Item number 1, minutes of the regular board meeting of June 9th, 2026. Item number 2, update on district operations for May 2026.
Does any board member have anything they want to say about the minutes from the last meeting? Yes.
I'd like to pull the operations report. First, I was highly surprised to find it under the consent calendar because I can't hear you. Working on it. It's just so much here. We good to go? Okay. First, I was highly surprised to find this under the consent calendar. This was something that I brought up to the operations manager years ago, that I thought it would be a great thing for both the public and the board to be educated about what's going on at TUD. And this has been a monthly ritual, if you want to call it that, since for a number of years. And it's been very educational, I think, to all the board members and those public members that wish to pay attention to it. So at any rate, unfortunately, we won't know anything about it, and neither will the public unless you go on site and somehow on that ridiculous website we have are able to find it. I know I spent hours in the last couple days trying to find things, and I don't know what's going on. I know we're under contract with a group to keep that thing up and running and so on, but find something on there is really a problem. But that's beside the point. I just want to bring you to page 3 of that. And for you folks out there, I'm sorry you can't see it. It's a lovely picture of a pristine, I want to say that again, pristine meadow at Sierra Pines, the old Sierra Pines golf course. It's mowed flat. And doesn't look too pristine to me. It's the area where a 37-acre water pond is going to be installed, which I'm not against. I'm not against the project at all, but I am against the fact that it's a backwards project. They're going to be pumping everything upstairs and all that. I don't want to get into it because it's really not on the agenda, but I just want to.
We don't want you to get into it at this
I
point.
want you to at least be able to see this picture, that's the last time you're going to see of that meadow, and it's in a mowed condition.
Okay. At this point, let's continue on with General Manager giving us the update on operations as he does each time at these meetings.
This is on a consent calendar. I thought we were just going to vote on it and be done with it.
That is not true.
Oh, you're changing it.
Not change. Let the General Manager.
Yeah, it's been a number of times over the years, due to the length of the agenda, this item has been moved to consent calendar just in the interest of time. I am the one who began writing this operations report way back in 2015. I'm very proud of it. It does show a lot of great information, provides a lot of good information for the public and the board to understand better what we do on a daily basis. I can, but I'm not prepared to go through the whole thing. If there's any more specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But the mowing that we've been doing that for about 5 or 6 years now. It's a thing to reduce some of the fire fuels out there just in the meadow because the grass is now brown and dry. So we've been mowing it for about 5 or 6 years now.
With that, any comment from the public? Then bringing it back to the board, I'd be looking for a motion to accept the consent calendar.
So moved.
I will second it.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Director Hollis,
Aye.
Director Jacobs,
Aye.
Director Kearns,
Aye.
Director Rill,
No.
Director Ringen.
No.
Okay, motion passes 3-2. Okay, regular business, public hearing regarding adoption of the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan.
All right. This is the time and place for a public hearing to consider the 2025 update of the Urban Water Management Plan. Board clerk will report on the posting of the notice of the hearing.
The notice of hearing was published twice in the Union Democrat on June 10th and June 17th.
Will the staff please describe and summarize the update to the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan? Tony Diaz.
Good morning, Board of Directors. So a couple months ago, we started the process of re-updating the Water Management Plan and the appendices to that. 2 weeks ago, we had a board presentation on the entire plan, which I presented to the board along with Eric Johnson, our district engineer. And if there are any questions, I'm willing to answer anything you guys have. But as of right now, I'm seeking for a motion to approve the plan and re-adopt the water shortage contingency plan.
Do you have any questions from the board? And were any public comments received?
Yes,
Yes.
2 written comments were received. Copies of all comments received prior to posting of the agenda have been included in the agenda packet.
Good.
One comment that was received after the posting of the agenda have been disseminated to the board on the dais. All comments are available in the project file.
Okay. So still board members, any comments on that? Then we will go to the public. Are there any members of the audience who wish to be heard on this matter?
Just a quick question on the plan. There's 2 TUD wells off of Chili Gulch Road that are not being used. And are they included in this urban plan? And how is it that you utilize that water, especially when there's a shortage, but it doesn't seem they're not used at this time? 2 wells out in the Springfield Estates that belong to TUD off of Chili Gulch Road. That's my question.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be brief. Those 2 wells, we inherited when we acquired the Springfield system. My knowledge, neither well is in active status today due to water quality reasons, but Trevor Cowden, the water superintendent, isn't here, nor is the operations manager. But I apologize. So how's this? So those 2 wells we inherited with the system when we acquired the Springfield system. To my knowledge, well, I do know that they are not put in use today. They used to be back in the day used for standby times when we had a canal outage, but currently I think they're offline or inactive due to water quality analysis.
Any other members of the audience who wish to be heard about this? If there's nothing further to be presented relating to the proposed amendments to the update of the Urban Water Management Plan, I hereby declare the public hearing to be closed. Next thing. Summit.
We need a motion.
I entertain a motion to accept the updates to the Urban Water Management Plan.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
So I did review the public comments that were available to us in the agenda. Obviously, just walking on the DS and seeing some additional comments, it's not really time to correctly, to properly respond to them. Could staff, with general manager permission, perhaps fill us in on what the contents of the letter that we just got a few minutes ago? Just what was said and how we responded. Would that be appropriate? Sure.
And I would rely on Tony for more specifics, but I'll just say that the comments that were received by the Central Sierra Environmental Research Center, CSERC, are consistent with comments that we've received from them over the years regarding long-term planning for water supply. Generally, those comments relate to growth rates in our service area and on efficiencies or losses of water in our raw water conveyance system. The general themes are that we overstate the growth rates in our community. And to that comment, we would just say that we know our community isn't growing very much. And we know we don't receive a lot of new connections due to growth in building new homes. However, most of our growth in the district over the years has been due to consolidation or acquisition of other water systems serving people in the community. And those are pretty easily quantifiable. We know how many water companies are out there. We know where they are. We know how many people they serve currently, and we know what their water demands are because they report them to the state. So it's prudent to plan for the eventual acquisition of those, although the district is not out there seeking acquisition. We know that regulations are becoming more stringent. It's becoming more expensive to operate water systems. Labor and staff are difficult to find. And so over a 20-year timeframe, it's reasonable to assume that we will be acquiring a number of those. And so our growth rates are, I don't want to say inflated, but they're largely because of that. In addition, CSERC has brought up the issue of water loss in the canal system. And we know that. We're actively working on that within the context of the environmental constraints that we have and the cultural resources. I will say that they're out of context with a few of their comments because some of the loss in the system as it's measured and reported is associated with flows that PG&E runs through the Phoenix powerhouse in excess of TUD's demand. So there are times in the year when there's much more flow running through that appears as loss because we can't use it. It's diverted upstream and through the powerhouse. And that's purely an operational decision by PG&E in order to maximize hydroelectric generation. So those are the main elements of their comments. We didn't feel they required any changes to the plan at this time. And again, this is a 5-year, it's a 20-year planning horizon. It's a 5-year document. So in 5 years, we'll revisit these assumptions. And if they need to be revised at that time, we will do that.
Okay. Tony, anything to add?
No, Eric Johnson covered it really well. Was there a specific question that CSORG provided that you were looking for an answer?
Well,
it was those
again,
two.
a little
Those two.
disadvantage because I read what was on the agenda, but haven't had opportunity to read what's here. So if you could maybe fill me in on what happened from the time the agenda package was published and what we received a few minutes ago.
So from 2 weeks ago when we had the presentation,
Mhm.
I talked to CSERC after that, and we went over our methodology of how we derive these numbers.
Mhm.
And after they went back and reviewed the plan again, they sent the new letter yesterday, which we got in at about 8:15 in the morning.
Wow,
So we could not put that into the agenda
Sure.
last week.
sure.
So therefore, you have it in your hands today.
Uh-huh.
The main topic we really went over was how I came up with those numbers.
Right.
And as Eric Johnson just noted, those are neighboring agencies within the community that we know that we could hook up eventually one day.
Mhm.
And all their data came from the state website that tells us their account types, like residential, CII, commercial, industrial, wholesales, whatever they have. And then it provides us their population. So I took those numbers from the state website and incrementally added them into the plan as we would hypothetically acquire these systems. So therefore, that's how the addition of all the population started to increase.
Mhm.
And since this is a planning document, we have to make sure that we do have enough water to provide these. If they all come in, I think we had about 30 neighboring agencies. If they were all to come in,
Mhm.
we have to make sure that we have enough water for them. So therefore, they're all accounted for in the math to account for the growth. So, and yes, it looks partially inflated, like a lot of customers would come in,
Uh-huh.
but those are just the numbers of the neighboring agencies based off the data from the state that those agencies provided the state. So. And then I will add, there's also the annual population growth added to that as well.
So there seemed to be a, in the, again, I can't scan this in a timely fashion, but my recollection was in the agenda packet, there was kind of a threat, if you will, by the person who authored the letter that if we didn't address our concerns, they were going to, go up the food chain, so to speak, to call attention to things that they felt were not correct. So as a board, do we feel that we have, the staff has developed a document that can withstand the scrutiny of those agencies if someone decides to make a big deal about it?
Well, I'll try to answer. Director Jacobs, I'm not familiar, or it doesn't sound familiar to me, some threat to go up the chain and challenge this legally. This plan is not very different from 5 years ago, which was adopted and passed by the board. We've been living by that document for 5 years. So I feel no need to I want to make you feel good.
Thank you.
This is not going to be challenged.
Okay, great.
Yes, and if I can add, the numbers we see there, I believe they're highly, backed by the data that we have. And if TUD is, it's a planning document, if we are wrong on the addition, it's directly coming from the state. So I think if they approved it, I don't see why we would not.
Okay, yeah, so I do have a copy of the document that was on the agenda. So the same sentence that was of concern, it says, we intend to review the 2025 updated version of the UWMP and to communicate to the State Water Board if we identify glaring flaws or inaccuracy.
Yeah.
We would prefer to communicate our support for an update that is credible and valid. So I don't know if you want to call it a threat or not, but they said they intend to review it and communicate to the State Board if we identify glaring flaws or inaccuracies. So that's my concern. If we've addressed that concern, I'm fully support.
Yeah, I believe we have. And CSERC, they know how to get a hold of me and, you know, when we work on the next plan, you know, they're always a partner in this, so we can do what we have to do to make things right, so.
Yeah, no, we welcome their input and their engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You're
Is
welcome.
that it? Director Ringen?
Yeah, this is a really important document. It's for another 5 years. It was brought before the public 2 weeks ago, for public comment. My comment right now is if, excuse me, the board is taken back by last minute information, what about the public? Public may have something to say about this. They didn't get a chance to even look at it. So I don't know how we can okay this until the public gets a chance to have input. This is what I keep complaining about. This TUD is not including the public in the way it's always after the fact. The board, not the board, staff tells the public and the board how it's going to happen. That's not right.
Okay. Director Wheeler, anything to say?
I've got a comment, Jeff, if I could.
Yeah, please do, Director Kearns.
Yeah, CSERC brings up an interesting point about the growth rate. And I tend to agree with it because the Tuolumne County never seems to grow as much as the county and the state and all these other entities say we're going to grow. So, so I hear their point on that. However, I don't know where else we're supposed to get our numbers then from places like the county and the state to use for this plan. And then also for the for getting that late letter, I haven't even seen it. It was probably emailed to me this morning, but I haven't got a chance to look at it, so I can't comment on that. But Director Ringen asked about getting more time to do this plan for more public input. What's our time frame on this, Dawn? Are we under the gun to get something approved, or is there a deadline on this, or where are we at as far as that goes?
Tony.
Director, I can answer that. So July 1st is the date that it's needs to be approved by and readopted for the water shortage contingency plan. And then thereafter, we have 30 days to submit it to the state.
Okay, and then what happens if we don't have it done by July 1st?
I think that one I would have to lean on Jesse for.
It would simply be late. We wouldn't meet the statutory requirement of the deadline. And there'd be no penalties that I'm aware of. They would still accept it late. You know, and I might add for the board members, Director Ringen asserted concern about public comment. This document was made available to the public. It was publicly noticed. Its availability was in the local newspaper. The public has had a more than adequate time to review it, and to postpone it simply because of a public comment letter. Well, you may get public comment letters next month. You can't continue to postpone something that has been properly noticed and advertised just because you receive a public comment letter on it. Thank you.
Yeah, that was my next question. I wanted to be sure that that we've done everything we're supposed to do to meet the criteria that Jesse just laid out there, and we have done that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Director Reel, have any questions? I do. I have a couple of them. I have dealt with CSERC. Okay. Sorry. I've been in touch with CSERC about these things all along. And since we have some concern about the document here, I wanted to ask Tony to refresh our memories on a couple of things that we just heard a couple of weeks ago. About the water loss. What is our water loss compared to water loss in the state? Are we considered to do a good or a bad job on that?
What has that got to do with it?
That was one of the questions you brought up.
So Thank you. That's actually a very important thing, and I actually discussed this with Don yesterday. So the national water loss average from the number I got from a couple meetings a year or so ago was about 25% of the water that leaves the plant, goes through the pipes to the customer, gets lost. TUD right now, we're sitting in the teens. So last year we lost 609 acre feet, which is about 17%, which is incredible compared to the national average. As we stand right now, we are probably the best district in the water basin, that is the Stanislaus Water Basin, and throughout the state. So, I give credit to Don and his guys out in the field. They're doing a great job fixing leaks all over the place. And year after year, since I've been doing this for the last 5 years, I've seen it go from 1,000 acre feet to now 609. And I can only see improvement for next year. So.
Good. And that's one of the things in the CSIRC document that they were concerned about was water loss. So we're chasing it and doing pretty well. And I have another question. How we do with these urban water management plans compared to other people in the state. You had some graphics as to who was on time, who was late, how happy the state was with these documents. How do we stand compared to other groups in the state?
Compared to the other groups in the state, we are 100% complete throughout 2017 to 2024 water audits. So that is the determining factor how much water loss you will have in the system. And we are green lighted all the way through. 2025 is yet to be submitted, but like I said, we're only seeing improvement year after year. So I expect it to be really well. And then if we had that slide available, you could see on there, there's 404 water districts or public water agencies in the state. And you'll start seeing the colors, red, green, orange, and all that. And TUD is standing in the green, which is 100% compliant.
Yeah.
So
okay,
I can't give you a percentage of how many are not doing well, but.
Yeah. So it's Department of Water Resources does this. They require this of us. We turn ours in on time. On time is about another week. We stand in pretty good stead with them. I'd like to keep that going. I don't myself, for a personal comment, I don't see any reason to delay adoption of this document. Director Ringen.
Yeah, my question is to our attorney, Jesse Barton. Both the comments letters that came in, both for the public meeting and now this one that just has appeared, you're saying appeared in the newspaper in totality?
I'm sorry, Director Ringen, the letters or the notice of availability of the urban water management plan for public comment and review?
The letters.
The letters were not. The letters were not. Only the urban water management plan, its availability for public comment review was published, and that's why the district received these letters.
So how would the public go about reading those letters?
I understand from Melissa that 2 of the letters were provided with the agenda, and then the one letter that came in late was made available to the board today. And if there are members of the public that want to see the letter that came in late, I'm sure that Melissa can make copies and distribute those to members of the public.
And they would be able to review that and be able to make comments in order to possibly have some effect on the board vote.
That would be up to the board. If the board wants to table the matter and postpone action, it could certainly do that. However, in listening to the comments or the responses from both Tony as well as Eric, the district engineer, it sounds as though the comments from CSIRC do not address any deficiencies with the plan. Perhaps CSIRC is dissatisfied with how things were characterized, but you're going to get that with any public comment, in my experience.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Also, I want to point out that this is the public, two things. This is the time for public to comment on this. It was done correctly and legally in the whole time. And the other thing is that when I went through that thing, it was 397 pages. You have to want to read it pretty bad to go into it. But we have, everyone on the board has. And I think you've done a really good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board or from the public? Shall we vote? Listen, shall we vote on it? Okay, looking for a motion?
A comment before we do that?
Yes, comment?
Is it the board's, I just would like to get some feedback from the board and staff if what's come to light warrants delaying the approval today?
Well,
Or
we'll
should
each
we-
have an opinion on that.
What's that?
Each board member will have an opinion on that.
But I just wonder if something we might want to consider talking about before we pass a motion.
Want discussion on it? Discussion?
Thoughts?
My opinion is that maybe we should table this until the next.
Okay. So we need to have a,
I'll go along with that. I believe
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Public should be involved. And if they weren't, then they should be.
I got a comment, Director, President Hollis.
yes,
Um, Table it for how long?
question.
Director Ringen, how long?
Whatever's fair for the public to be able to review it and come back with any comments if they have any.
So what you're saying, I guess, is that we've complied with California law in publishing and noticing and having an open public forum, which we just did. And that's not good enough. Is that what you're saying?
Do not put words in my mouth. I'm tired of
That's
you
why I'm
doing that.
asking you. That's why I'm asking you. Is that
A little
what you're,
decorum, Mr. Ringen.
that's why I'm not putting words in your mouth, Ron. I don't want to do that. I'm just asking, is that the intent of your comments?
Let me say it again. Whatever length of time it takes for the public to be able to get the information and evaluate it and come back with any comments or problems that they may have with it, period. I hope that's clear enough for you.
Well, no, it's not clear enough because I'm asking how long you want to
Yeah,
postpone it. That's not a clear answer.
Okay, whatever we do with this, we need to start with a vote. Look for,
I move a motion that we table this until at least 2 board meetings.
I'll second that.
Hold on a minute. So if we're going to table this item, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Jesse, we will have to also run the public hearing notice again in the paper twice. So there is a time frame that we have to meet. Correct? Or do we have to run the public hearing notice again in the paper for 2 consecutive weeks?
I will have to look at the statute. I don't have it in front of me. It's possible you have to rerun the advertisement. I don't think so. I think it says the statute provides it will be a minimum of 2 consecutive public notices in the newspaper. I will have to see if it mandates it before each and every time the plan is considered by the board. I kind of doubt it, Melissa, but I'll have to check. It's a possibility. And it sounded like the motion would allow for that, since the motion stated it would be a minimum of 2 meeting postponement. So that would give us time to sort it out. I could take a look at the statute after the meeting.
okay. We have a motion and a second, and we have a vote. Director Ringen. So Melissa, it's going to be a voice vote?
Correct. Okay, the motion is to table this item. Director Hollis,
Nay?
Director Jacobs,
Director Jacobs?
Would you like to ask a question?
Yes.
I'll abstain.
Okay.
Director Kearns,
No.
Director Rill,
Yes.
Director Ringen.
Yes.
Okay, so it's 2-2 with one abstention.
So the motion fails.
Correct.
Next motion is, which we need to do, is whether to accept this report. So we're looking for a motion or a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the let me get my agenda here. Make a motion to approve the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan.
Okay. Director Jacobs, what was the question?
Just a question for Jesse. What would be the impact of, with this, with not making the deadline? If we defer it for 2 more board meetings?
As I mentioned, it is a statutory deadline. I'm not aware of any penalties. I believe what will happen is that the state will still accept the report, even though it is filed late. But it will be a violation of the statute.
Which means we're breaking the law if we don't.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to break the law. I will vote yes.
Are you
We need a
seconding?
second. We need a second.
I will second. I will second the motion. I don't want to break the law.
We have a motion and a second, and we have a vote.
Okay. Director Hollis,
Aye.
Director Jacobs,
Aye.
Director Kearns,
Aye.
Director Rill,
Nay.
Dr. Ringen.
No.
Motion passes 3-2.
Okay. Go on to the next item.
Item number 4, consider awarding contract for the Summit Distribution Improvement Project final paving.
All right, board and public, I'll just go straight bottom line up front here. We're asking for the board's authorization to award a contract to KW Emerson for the Summit Distribution Improvements final paving project. And to also authorize us to execute change orders up to, but not to exceed, a total contract value of $300,000. So a change orders of about $120,000 on top of the award we're requesting. A little bit of background information here. Your crews have been installing a water main on Summit Drive, Midland Drive, and soon to be Turner Court. All of this is in the Scenic Estates area off of Phoenix Lake Road. This is part of a multi-year, multi-phase project to bring pressurized water by gravity from the upper basin through Ridgewood, down Phoenix Lake Road, so that we could consolidate, and we have already, the Phoenix Lake Park water system and the Scenic View water system. Ultimately, those 2 areas of our service area will be fed from Sierra Pines when that's done. So this is the last phase of that, and involved ultimately about 5,100 feet of new water main. The paving bid was put out on the 22nd of May, and the scope of work was defined as just what's in Summit Drive, because our crews are still working on the other 2 areas. Since that time, we have quantified the additional paving, and that's what's reflected in the change order that we're requesting. The bids were opened on the 12th of June. There's a very kind of a short bidding time. We received 1 bid. We did have a pre-bid meeting and there were other contractors that attended. Why they chose not to submit a bid, I don't know. I will say that we have good experience historically working with KW Emerson. They have been the contractor that's done patch paving bids or patch paving work for the district the last few years now. So they're a known commodity in that regard. The bid looked reasonable to us, and we would like to get this awarded and have the contractor out there as soon as possible to minimize any inconvenience to the traveling public. Right now, the roads are patched back with cutback, and I'm sure the folks out there would appreciate having the final paving done as soon as possible. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay. Do you have any questions from the board? Yes, Director Ringen.
So why is it that we have a contingency?
Okay, try to explain this better. So we put the project out to bid when our crews had completed the Summit Drive portion of the water main. We quantified the number of square feet of paving that went out in the bid. Since that time, our crews have done quite a bit of other work, saw cutting, trenching in Midland, and they plan to also be in Turner Court. So we went out and quantified that additional amount. So the award is based on just Summit Drive, but if you use the unit prices provided by the contractor for the remaining work in Midland and Turner Court, it calculates out to be about an additional $120,000. The advantage to getting this authorization from the board is that we can use the same contractor. They can mobilize once and do all of the work at one time rather than going out to bid for another project and waiting potentially 2 to 3 months to have Midland and Turner Court also paid.
You know, this is a thing that really irritates me. Having been a contractor for 60 years, when I put out a contract, there's a price, one price only. Why are you making public think that it's going to be one price with a possible contingency, which obviously the public then thinks, oh, that may not happen, when really what should happen is Kiewit should go on back out there and provide a new contract for the entire project. Finished job. Why not do that? I mean, that's the common sense way of doing it. That's the way most people do it.
I do want to clarify, this is nothing to do with the contractor. This is a district initiated change order. This is something your staff is asking for. The contractor did nothing wrong. They bid based on the scope that was provided. We have added scope.
I get that. I get that. Why not get a new contract from the contractor for the entire amount, for the entire job?
I believe it was time. Trying to get the roads put back so that people don't have problems driving over them. We do a pretty good job with the county's roads.
It takes a long time for a contractor to drive out and look at it and give a new contract. I know it takes a really long time to do that.
And award the contract and go through this. I don't know.
No, you don't know.
You have 3 contractors sitting on the board and 2 of them have a lot more experience than you do.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
as a
great.
matter of fact, and change orders are common.
We
I
will.
don't see a problem with it.
The contract will, if a change order is initiated, the change order becomes part of the contract. So there will be all the contract terms and conditions that apply to the entire scope of work once the change order is executed.
Okay. Do we have any other comments? Okay. And from the public, do we have any comments from the public?
I've got a comment. Well, go ahead. I'll wait till.
Oh, please, it's a
I'll
board
wait.
comment.
That's
No,
all right.
board comment goes first. Please do, Director Kearns.
I just got a question for Mr. Johnson. Is this contingency that you're asking for? Is this something that's happened before with TUD projects?
First, I want to make a clarification. This is not a contingency. A contingency is for something that's unknown. This is known. This
Yeah,
is
but
a-
I mean, it's this request. It's something that has
This
happened.
is Yes, sir. This is something that has happened in the past. It was a matter of timing and convenience. It avoids us going out to bid again and having the residents out there wait an additional 2+ months. Because the bid that was received was fair and comparing to other costs, it made sense to go ahead and request that the board authorize a change order so that we can have the same contractor. I actually expect this to be the least cost option to the district. If we go
Correct.
back out to bid and get a different contractor, the economy of scale is not there. The mobilization costs will apply, and it will impact our residents out there with a wait before we can get another contractor out there to do the work. But yes, to answer your question directly, we have done this in the past.
Okay, thank you.
It sounds like there's lots of options. It's unfortunate that there was only one responsive bidder. Just curious how many people showed up for the bid opening or bid walk? Or
I believe there was 1 or 2 other contractors that showed up.
Okay.
And I did inquire why the lack of interest.
Right.
Because we solicited, not only do we post this on the website, but we do direct solicitation.
Sure.
And we sent this to probably 10 or 12 different contractors. There's a number of reasons paving is challenging in our area. One is size. There are a number of folks that will do very small patch paving. And then when you get larger, like this size, you're looking at, maybe George Reed, folks from the Valley coming up. And yet this isn't a very large paving project, but it also is not just a patch paving job. It is disappointing. I would have liked to have seen another 2. We always endeavor to get at least a minimum of 3 bids. However, when I asked around, there was no clear explanation. I think contractors are generally busy this time of year. If we could have bid this in February, I think we would have gotten more interest, but we're right in the middle of construction season.
So as board members and representing the ratepayers that elected us, is this the optimal thing for TUD to do to keep the rates low and very importantly, to keep the community happy? They're unhappy with bumpy roads. We all are. I live in Miwok, and there are a lot of times I wish the roads were in a lot better shape than they are. So the people in the community, we're doing this, number one, because we feel it's economical, the most economical, and we also feel it's the least heartache disruption for the residents. Is that accurate?
Yes to both of those, and I included the bid schedule in your agenda package so you can see the unit costs. The unit costs range from about $6.25 a square foot up to, depending, up to $8 a square foot. Completely reasonable in our current climate. Oil isn't exactly cheap. Asphalt isn't cheap right now. So this is a very fair bid, and even if we had another basis of comparison here, I think we would see comparable, if not higher, bids for that. The other thing I'll mention is that in your capital budget that the board adopted was about $650,000 for this effort. And so we're doing this at about $300,000.
Wow.
Part of that is we thought that the quantities would be greater, but we also thought the unit costs would have been higher than what this bid was. So I think the answer is yes on both accounts. I think this is the best cost we're going to get, and 2, the least disruptive to the residents out there.
And we can put 300,000 more in our central CIP for the next 5 years. Yeah. Well, sounds good to me.
Okay, then 2 of us want to talk. I agree with all those issues. I think that is a very cost-effective way to do the job. I don't really see why we're throwing any roadblocks up, any of us, on a job like that. My experience is it was good work. Director Ringen.
So for clarification, this paving job is going to be for the areas disturbed by TUD's work, correct?
Correct.
So what would you characterize Summit Drive Road as a whole?
very poor.
Okay, so this concern we have for our neighbors on Summit Drive about their running over a bumpy road has nothing really to do with the repair work or the paving that we are going to do. They are still going to be left with at least half of their road. I mean, because we're just doing where the pipes went. All the rest of the road is still in poor repair, so they're still bumping along. So I don't understand what the rush is.
Well, you are right. The road's in horrific condition. However, the district has an obligation to put the road back to equal or better. And in this case, it will be much better. There have been complaints received by the county about the road. And that was just, the county forwarded those to us, and those were just residents wondering what's taking so long. Most of the time, residents are fairly blind to the water main, but pay very close attention to the roads and to drainage. And so we would like to just get the project completed, move out of the area so that the residents aren't basically antagonized by seeing a trench line, even if it is in better condition than the existing road. That's a county issue because it's a county road.
If we have no other questions from the board, do we have any comments from the public on this? If not, I'll be asking for a motion for doing the Summit Road project.
So moved.
In a second,
I second.
we have a motion and a second. Melissa, can you call the roll?
Okay, Director Hollis,
Aye.
Director Jacobs,
Aye.
Director Kearns,
Aye.
Director Rill,
Reluctantly, aye.
Director Ringen.
You left it. Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Next.
President Hollis, I need to recuse myself from item number 5, please. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I guess Corey or Don will text me when I'm ready to come back on.
Jeff, if you could explain the reason for Director Kearns, if you could please explain the reason for your recusal.
Yeah, we've done some work recently with Plum Construction at one of my businesses. So
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 5, consider authorizing contract change order number 1 with Plum Construction, Inc. for construction of phase 2 of the Sonora Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility filter and chlorine contact basin cover structure project.
Okay, I want to make another distinction. This is an owner-initiated change order, meaning the contractor didn't come to us requesting this. The district is proposing this. The other thing is this is not a result of any unforeseen site conditions or a deficiency in the design in any way. Basically, we're asking the board, let me provide a little background. In January, we came to the board with a request to award a contract to Plum Construction for the construction of 2 cover structures down at the Sonora Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility. And at that time, we explained the need for these structures. One was going to be over the chlorine contact basin and the filter area, and the other was going to be over the south process station where there's a bunch of pumps and instrumentation that are exposed to the elements. At that time, our capital budget did not have sufficient funding to award the entire contract. So at that time, before the board, we suggested we would be coming back to the board to add back the remaining portion of the contract once the fiscal year 27 budget was adopted. Fiscal year 27 budget has been adopted. So we are back at this time requesting the additional $217,400, which will cover the erection of the second cover structure. At this time, Ben Nelson with Plum Construction and also with Sierra Nevada Engineering is here. He can discuss or answer any specific questions you have, but I will say we're working through the calculations for the foundation. Our hope is that in July or August timeframe, we'll be able to to form pour strip the foundation. And then once the buildings arrive, Plum Construction will be able to move in and put the buildings up. The hope would be to be done with that this calendar year, ideally closer to November, December timeframe. And at this point, our capital budget has more than sufficient funding, and this project is explicitly identified in the budget. So happy to answer any questions as well. Ben's here if you'd like.
Do you have any questions or comments from the board? Director Reel.
So originally, we voted in January to do the one cover over the one section. And now you want us to additionalize covering the other section? Is that correct?
It is correct. We bid the entire project with both cover structures. We didn't have enough money in January when the board awarded this contract to award the full contract. But the intention was there to have the second cover structure also built. And so now that we have our new capital budget that's been adopted by the board, we're coming back to add in the second cover structure.
So this may be an odd question, but I understood that the original contract on building the facility had that cover on it.
No, the original contract never contemplated a cover over those two areas. If you're referring to the original construction of the Sonora Regional Wastewater Facility a couple of years ago, no, we actually didn't have even enough funding. We had to go back to USDA to get additional funding for that project, and we never envisioned a cover structure.
Okay.
Director Ringen.
So going off of Director Reel's comments, that's exactly what I felt. And I had to go back and revisit the meeting from the beginning of January to see what actually happened at that. And it's true, it was presented to us as a two-phase thing, which at that time I thought we were just, somehow that second phase got past me. But to me, none of that has anything to do with it. This shouldn't even be before us. This goes way back to when the regional wastewater treatment plant was being planned and so on. And without board authorization, without the public's input, that cover was taken off the schedule. The board never voted to take that off the build schedule. If been brought before the board, excuse me, and the public, I know at least I would have questioned it for sure. And I think that there would have been repositioning of the filters to another spot in those pits that they're in. I think that there would have been a lot of things done differently so that now you're going to need a crane to get the filters out to service them through the roof, this new cover. That doesn't sound too cost effective or labor intensive to me, amongst many other things. Plus, those covers probably could have been put up at the time of construction for maybe a couple $100,000 at the very most. Now we're talking $750,000 or more to do it over sensitive equipment. This is insanity. This is what I'm talking about. These things are told to the board how they're going to be done and the public, rather than bringing it to the public and the board first for input so that good decisions can be made instead of after the fact expensive fixes.
Do we have any other comments from the board?
Yes, I think,
Director Jacobs.
yes, thank you. Director Ringen raised some issues that seem to contradict what we heard from staff. Could you maybe clarify what the issues are?
I think Director Ringen was referring to events of 5-6 years ago now, and implying that the original design had cover structures over these areas of the plant, which they didn't. And there were several workshops held with the board through the design process with our design consultant. There was never an opportunity to vote to remove something that wasn't there to begin with. Yes, I wish we had included the cover structures. I really do in hindsight. And I take some responsibility for that, but I'll tell you that the equipment that's out there, the manufacturer said that it would handle the elements, the temperature fluctuations we have. So we took the manufacturers at their word. In hindsight, I wish we had done a little more research, but I don't agree that this would have been done at much less cost than what we're proposing here, because our contractor at the time was not necessarily the lowest cost provider, as we've learned recently. And Plum Construction has built a number of metal buildings for the district, and they really have proven themselves to be the most economical and professional operation that we have in our area for these types of structures. And yes, the filters would have required a crane to remove anyway. We've made provisions through the roof to pull those out. Our hope is that we never really need to pull them out, but Ben has designed a removable roof panel that will allow us with the framing to pick those out if we need to. And we've made other contingencies to allow for proper maintenance of the equipment there.
So just, I'm trying to restate what you said, make sure I understand it. So it was initially considered to have it covered? No?
No.
It wasn't, okay. Or you said that you had thoughts of, there was some concept or thoughts of providing a cover at some point? No?
There really wasn't. The consulting engineer, they looked at they talked to the filter manufacturer.
Got
They
it,
talked to the pump manufacturer.
right.
They looked at the Hawk instrumentation. You look at the specs on those and they say, oh, they can handle 120 degrees. They can handle down to 32 degrees or actually to 20 degrees.
Wow.
You know, as long as you don't have water freezing inside, which water's moving through those instruments. So based on that information, it was never contemplated to cover those. And UV, they were supposed to handle UV as well. It's now that, and if you go online and even look and do your own research, you'll see these installations all over the place that are outside. Granted, our climate is pretty harsh here, but we see these installed in Arizona that are outside. So we made that decision at that time based on that information. And now that we're 4 years removed and our staff have experienced failures of the equipment, and we don't want to continue having equipment fail, also degrade the lifespan of these, we feel like it's a good investment to cover these now while we still have a lot of useful life. It's fairly new equipment. And so this was thought of back in November last year, finally got the bids out in December, got Plum awarded in January, and all we're asking for is for the board to award or authorize the change order amount to add the second cover structure.
So let me clarify. So my understanding, based on our reliance on the filter controls manufacturers, what they said, we relied on what they said. We said it's not necessary to have a cover. Based on our experience, that reliance was not justified. So now we're having to spend $500,000 plus because of that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, yes, and I'll add a little more detail just because. So I called the filter manufacturer after I talked with a different person, and that person said, "Oh yeah, I think those should be covered." So we even received conflicting information later on. The reality is they need to be covered, and whether or not it should have been included in the design to begin with or not is a 4 or 5, 6 year ago. That ship has sailed.
Right.
And this is the most cost-effective way to protect all the equipment moving forward. And provide maintenance. We've thoroughly vetted this with the operations staff and to make sure we're not impacting their operations. And we think this is the best alternative moving forward.
Okay.
So we covered this in enough detail. Go ahead.
So I don't know if Jesse can maybe help us with this. Because of a reliance on a manufacturer's stated product, we are now in the situation where that statement was unreliable. We're having to expend hundreds of thousands of dollars to remediate a problem that we didn't think was a problem. Do we have any recourse, Jesse?
If there is a written, yes, thank you, Director Jacobs. If there is a written guarantee that under no circumstances it wouldn't be necessary to cover these facilities, then perhaps we could look at that. I don't think such a guarantee exists. Sounds like it's very climate dependent and frankly, equipment specific type situation. So I don't see legal recourse. No, at this time.
Director Reel, anything? And anything from the public about this one? If not, I'll be asking for a motion. Well, we do have something from the public.
Is this something that if you discovered later that it was something that you guys could recoup the cost from the manufacturer? Is that something that you could consider? It sounds like an awful lot of money to me as a ratepayer. Is that something you could add to your discussion?
I'll try to respond. There is a warranty, limited warranty. And so whenever we can, if we have coverage under a warranty, we will assert that and try to get we have looked at the warranty and it doesn't cover this type of failure, just like UV or just excessive heat or, there's very specific portions of the warranty that provide coverage. So we have looked at that. The expense for this has to be taken in context. The stuff that we're protecting is really expensive. So it's a $750,000 investment to protect what may be $6-7 million worth of, I don't really know.
Yeah, no, I have no objection to that. I'm just wondering if it's possible that you guys could find out, is it a recoupable loss? I mean, I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm just saying it'd be nice to make the manufacturer pay for it rather than ratepayers. Thank you.
Already did. All right. Then at that point, I'll be looking for a motion. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
General Manager Perkins, do you have any thoughts on this issue?
I don't have any other thoughts other than to reiterate what's been stated. Yeah, we can all look back, hindsight 2020, and wish we'd have put those covers up in the beginning. It wasn't recommended like I thought it was way back when. Not everybody will remember this, but at that time we were under leadership at the general manager level, and so there was a fair amount of turnover between the general manager and other staff. So this maybe didn't have the exact set of eyes on it that it should have, but again, I can't go back and undo those things. I do like the suggestion that we look at the manufacturer and see if they're culpable or having contradictory statements. I do like that thought, but the fact remains that the costs then would be the cost today, approximately, maybe more. We have a reliable hometown outfit that's going to construct this thing at a fair price. They've been fair to this district and its customers for years and years, and I suspect they will be this time. I think it's the prudent thing to do to protect the investment that we have down there.
And I'm in favor of protecting our investment. It seems from what I understand, I don't have all the facts, but what I understand, there was a mistake. There was a mistake made in relying on statements that the manufacturer provided. It doesn't sound like there's we have any legal recourse. What is the impact, just so the board understands, what's the impact of either not moving forward with the second phase or delaying the approval of the second phase?
Let me try to give this answer in an operations perspective. So the second phase is to cover the south process where there's 6 or 7 very expensive pumps and all sorts of analytical equipment out there. The impacts is day-to-day operations, right? Your operators are down there trying to, run this facility, and they rely on all this equipment and the redundant equipment to be in operation. When the elements impact this equipment from operating, well, then they've got to be in some sort of a crisis mode down there operating the equipment. So from an operational standpoint, it just puts a big burden on the operators down there.
So,
Let's do a motion and a vote. Do I have a motion? I will so move. No second.
I have a question.
Do you have a second? Okay, I do not hear a second for that. So the motion fails. You need to move on. Okay. Next thing is the coach's corner, but we've held these people here a long time today. Let's skip that one and move that one down so that we can get to the meat of the matter. Yes. Yes. I don't see them on the screen yet. There we go. All right, have everybody back. Director Kearns, we've skipped down to item 7, the general manager employment agreement.
Okay. thank you.
Secretary.
Okay, this is my item. Good morning, everybody. So this is my item. I am proposing that we make amendment number 4 to my original agreement, and I'll go through the elements and then open it up for questions, comments, okay? So the first section is section 3, the effective date and term. This is simply me indicating to the board early that after nearly 5 years, that I am still willing and able and wanting to continue my service for an additional 5 years. So this is me telling the board early so we can all make plans that I am excited to continue to work here and be the general manager for the district for 5 years, all the way through October 31st of 2031. This agreement then shall change to a renewable term on November 1st, 2031, and shall automatically renew for an annual term each successive November 1st unless the board provides written notice of its desire not to renew this agreement at least 90 days prior to the end of the fixed term or each annual term, i.e. August 2nd. If the board elects not to renew the agreement in this manner, i.e. provides written notice of its desire not to renew more than 90 days prior to the end of the current term, then the without cause severance provision in Section 8 shall not apply, and the agreement shall expire on its next occurring date of October 31st. Okay, Section B, where it says this section was deleted in entirety, is simply because it was captured in the above Section 3A. Section 4, compensation. The employees is paid an annual sum of $211,066.80. This is just cleanup. That is what my current salary is. I am not asking for a salary increase at this time. Just my current salary, I'm just cleaning it up. Subsection A was deleted in its entirety under section 4, subsection A, because this was there in my current contract are three provisions for some sort of an increase in pay. This one in practice, I don't think belongs there anymore. I didn't object to it originally, but in practice now every year, I think it just doesn't belong. I don't think there's a need for there to be a provision for a merit increase. New subsection A, compensation consideration. The board is in its sole discretion may or may not consider salary and benefits increases as a result of performance reviews, section 7, or increases received by regular employees of the district and any compensation change contemplated for the general manager. So again, that was one of the ones that was in the contract, and I'm just sort of leaving it in there. It has a new subsection. Subsection C was also deleted in its entirety because this is another way to have the general manager receive some sort of a salary-based or performance-based compensation. Again, in practice, I don't think it was necessary, and I just want to remove that from a contract. So there's just one opportunity, one provision for a salary increase if the board so chooses. Section 5, employee benefits. The only change here on administrative leave, I'm asking to increase it from 40 hours to 80 hours, or increase it from 5 days to 10 days. Section 5, little d, health insurance. The district currently provides group health insurance to district employees and eligible dependents of the California Public Employees Retirement System. Health benefits program, the district may secure at its sole discretion an alternate plan at some point in the future. The district shall pay, it's what's struck out as 85%, and what is in place is 90% of the premium cost for the what's struck out is covered selected by the employee to the middle available health plan option, Blue Shield PPO. So this is just cleaning up what was passed in the MOU. This will result in some cost savings to the district, nearly $700 a month. Life insurance, I'm asking to increase this from $300,000 to $1 million. This is just, it's a life insurance policy that I don't plan on using, I hope, but in the sudden and unfortunate demise of myself, I think my worth is $1 million, 5 times my salary. Holidays, again, this is just cleanup. Under the Biden administration, he enacted into law the June 19th, yeah, it's my brother's birthday. And so this is just cleanup. My current contract says 12 and in actuality it's 13, but this past June 19th, I worked plenty. Performance evaluations, this is just sort of cleanup for me to keep us on target in October of each year, thereafter, unless otherwise mutually agreed upon, into writing by the board and employee. That was the 12-month appointment. Later down here, performance evaluations are intended solely for performance feedback and do not authorize compensation changes unless separately approved by the board in accordance with subsection 4, little a. And then section 8, severance and separation pay. So simply, I'm asking to move this from 6 months to 18 months. This is in an effort to protect myself, protect the district, and protect the ratepayers from unnecessary turnover at the highest level. A number of years ago, the grand jury really came down on us hard for the frequent and often turnover at the highest level, at general manager level. And this is me. I don't intend to capitalize on this clause. I'm not looking to get fired for no reason. I feel like if I'm doing a good job and I want to work here for 5 years, as I've done for 26 years, 6 months and 12 days, that I should do so. I think I've earned that. I don't think there's a need to be fired or let go for no reason or without cause. Now, if I do something wrong, if I'm not performing, it'll show up in my performance evaluation and we can address it then. That's it.
Fair enough. So Melissa, what's our procedure? Do we want to take public comment? Because when we come to the board, we're going to want to go over this in some detail.
The board should hold.
Do that first. What's the
board should
procedure?
discuss.
Okay. Okay. Then, let's discuss it and let's start with seniority. Director Ringen, go first.
I'm waiting for everybody else. I'm waiting for everybody else.
Do you have something to, my question is, what do you have to say about this proposed contract?
I will wait till everybody else has stated their point.
Okay. Director Kearns, you've been here for 8 years. What is your opinions about the details of this contract proposal?
Just a couple questions right now. I might ask some later. First thing is, Don, when you went through your presentation, it sounded like most of this is just cleanup, correct?
A lot of it is, some of it is cleanup. I wouldn't characterize all of it or a lot of it or most of it, but some of it is cleanup.
Okay. How about that life insurance? Do we have a cost of what the $300,000 policy is now and what it would be at $1 million, what that difference is?
Well, as it turns out, Aqua JPIA has been, we've inquired with them. They may not even have that policy available to me. I haven't heard back, so we could probably push that, cancel it, table it, whatever you'd like to do, but we don't have information on the cost today.
Okay. All right, then, and you made comments on Section 8 on the severance, and you are correct. TUD was the subject of grand jury negative comments, and you know, I got on this board right at the tail end of that when TUD definitely had a revolving door at the general manager position, and it was it didn't ever seem to be based on performance. It was always based on just you know, personal situations and personal grievances between directors and whoever happened to be in the general management position. I'm not sure if I agree with this or not yet. I want to wait and hear some more comments and hear some more on this. But I understand your concern here because this has certainly been an issue at this district for some time. You know, dismissing general managers without cause. And certainly the last one had nothing to do with performance because I was there and I witnessed it. So anyway, that's all I have right now, but I may comment later. Thank you.
We could maybe make this a little shorter. Director Reel and I have talked about this and some deal, you can only talk to one other director under the Brown Act. Could you maybe lay out some of the things that we have agreed on that we believe in at least?
Well, in the first section, effective date and term, I was just concerned that whether we could rewrite anything in the middle. After, you know, that's set, and we rewrite something. And I was assured by Jesse Barton that we could do that. So, and then the other thing, I was not aware of what your current pay was. So, and I also am aware now that any of the union increases you do not receive.
No.
Not automatically, no.
We asked.
Unless we vote on it, is correct? So is that a separate vote other than the union contract deal?
Yeah, it has to come to the board as a separate item. Yeah, like it has in the past. This very thing has happened in the past.
So the, okay there. All right, so then I moved down to employee benefits. I don't know that I agree with changing it from 40 hours to 80 hours. I think that's more than, I mean, you get a lot of time off now. But that would, with all the increases, you'd have almost a month off a year. And I don't know if we can do it without you, Don.
Thank you.
So that's a concern. And I wanted to see if we couldn't do some rewording of that so it says, because administrative leave per calendar year. And when I read this originally, it said that the leave would be paid at the end of December, but when we moved into the the holidays, it said that it would be granted 8 hours of time off annually. And then it would appear on the first payroll check in January. To me, that was confusing because I'm a layman. I don't understand a lot of contracts. So to me, I think that need to be clarified that, that you're not paid in January. You're just allotted the time in January because it said it was going to be on your paycheck. And I didn't really understand that until I talked to Jesse again. And he explained that that meant that
Yeah.
it was only posted on your check that you had the time. But I understood it to be that it was paying you in January, but then at the end of the year, it would be forfeited if you didn't take it, but you were already paid for it. So I was confused and I just wanted that wording to be clarified because if it was confusing to me, it could be confusing to others. My opinion. The other thing that I questioned Jesse about was the fact that on the employee benefits, besides I'm not agreeing with the 80 hours and 10 days, was that it said that any remaining unused administrative leave shall be paid at the end of December of each year, beginning December 31st of 2021. And I said to him, I said, does this mean we're back paying him all this money? And he told me, and he clarified it very clearly, that was just because that was beginning of the contract. So I was okay with that. I got more.
We both have more.
I
Go for
got
it.
more. The life insurance. One, I would definitely table this or get rid of this because I do not agree with 5 times the annual salary or the $1 million. But even if we did, I would say that would go until you're retired and then it would no longer be in effect. But that would also have to be reworded into it. Let's see. And actually the holidays, I'm okay with that.
Got one.
I'm okay with that one. Then we're gonna go to the performance evaluations. Again, it's so, the wording was confusing to me. I like to be really clarified on the wording because I need to understand it because I'm not a contract person. So it says, in October of each year thereafter, unless otherwise mutually agreed. So I said to Jesse, again, I discussed this with him. I said, we changed the month, but not eliminate the performance because it made an impression to me that we were eliminating the performance evaluation, but that is not true. He said, it just means that we can change the month. So think we need to place in there a statement that says that it's not eliminating it, just changing the monthly date.
Okay.
And guess what? I think that's all I got.
Okay. And I'd like to add on to that since the two of us are working together. So we got the 40 hours, we think instead of 80. We're talking about changing the contract here.
Yes.
40 hours instead of 80. The performance evaluation is just clarify the month. The life insurance, we don't agree with the $1 million. I would say just cancel it, get another policy because that's pretty contentious situation. Then the other thing is severance pay. And I believe a couple things about severance pay. Did we talk about that? Oh, go.
I
go do
forgot
that.
the severance pay.
Yeah.
Let me go into that one.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I disagree with severance pay of 18 months. I understand your position and I understand how things went in the past. But how long have you been with us now, Don?
26 years, 6 months and 12 days.
Wait, as general
Yeah.
manager?
What's that?
As general manager?
5 years.
Okay, so I understand everything that went in the past, not that I was here, but I did understand it, but I just don't agree with 18 months of the current salary because I think that puts more of a drain on the ratepayers that are paying us. I think it's too much. And that is, I mean, I have an opinion about how long it should be, but
Actually, And we didn't actually sort that out between the two of us. What do you think is a good amount?
I didn't think any more than 8 months.
I agree. So with the first 3 people weighing in, it sounds like we changed the contract, or our proposal, counter proposal. Change the contract, 40 hours still, not 80 hours. Performance evaluation, just pick the time. That Jesse can help with that. Lose the insurance and change the severance from 18 months to 8 months. So
Right.
those are beginning, but we have more people to hear from.
Yes.
Okay. Just don't want to go last. So Director Jacobs, what are you thinking about this so far?
Well, I would like to, I respect Director Ringen's desire to be last. However, Director Ringen's been part of the board since 2012, 20? Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm so sorry. How are we doing, Corey, on volume? Okay, everybody here?
Just get close.
I'm so sorry. I'm a little
I
soft-spoken.
can hear you
sometimes.
good, Glenn.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So what I was saying that Director Ringen has been active on the board since 2012,
12.
14 years. Director Ringen has seen probably at least, how many general managers? A dozen?
No, but a lot.
8? Anyway,
Oh, come on.
quite a few.
How many?
In any case, so I would be very anxious to hear what Director Ringen has to say before I weigh in, because I value greatly his opinion.
As would I.
Okay, so I guess I'll start out with, why now? The contract isn't up till October. Why now? This shouldn't even be on the agenda right now. How did this get on the agenda? The evaluation comes in October. The contract negotiation happens after the evaluation. Why now? So then we got another little problem here. I don't know who and what allowed this thing to come in here. On this agenda item, it says recommendation. Staff recommends the board of directors to, since when does staff recommend to the board what the board does with their one and only employee, the general manager? Could someone answer that for me? Staff recommends.
Can answer it, but
Wait.
go on.
So why now? To refresh Director Hearn's memory, I'll give him that he was fresh on the board. He doesn't remember, I guess. The past general manager, I won't name names, but was so despised by the operations group, they wouldn't even enter the office. Wouldn't even enter the office. The morale was at the bottom of the garbage can. And it was Director Kearns and one other director that attempted at that time to put in place one of those sweetheart 3-month-long severance pay things. The board beat it down. We beat it down then, and I hope to God this board has common sense to beat it down again. It's outrageous. Other than that, I don't see anything in this that I agree with. Now you have my opinion.
Okay. Okay, we have that. And Director Jacobs, I'd like to hear some positive comments on what we should do here.
Positive.
On what we should do. Yeah.
Let's make it positive.
What's up?
I have no comments at the moment.
Okay. We have these 4 items. Anybody got, well, we've heard one issue. Director Kearns, 40 hours instead of 80, performance evaluation, just pick the time. Jesse will help us with that. we lose the insurance thing and we cut the severance to 8 months. Would that set with you?
Oh, yeah, hold on one second.
It's not a lengthy
Yeah,
document, but it's detailed.
I'm all right with that, I guess. That's good. Yeah, I think those are reasonable. I don't know if Don's acceptable, but I think from a board perspective, I think those are reasonable things there. I'm curious, Director Ringen is wondering why now. In all of his previous comments on a lot of other factors, he said that the board doesn't have time to do anything on some of these things that are brought before the board. And this one, now we got plenty of time, and he's complaining about that. I do remember when we dismissed the previous general manager, Ron, and that was solely a personal matter between you and him. And you got a new director and another director to go along, and that's what it was. So we lived with it, but that's the history of TUD, is a revolving door at general manager. And I understand Don's concerns about that. I really do. So thank you.
Sure.
When is this supposed to take effect?
In October.
Of this year? This is before his evaluation or after?
Lisa, when was our last evaluation? It seems like it was just a couple months ago.
Seems like it goes by fast. It was last year.
So this will take effect before the evaluation or after the evaluation?
The way I see it, it goes into effect as soon as it gets approved or doesn't get approved if it doesn't get approved, but it takes, Jesse, how do you see it?
Yes, your General Manager Perkins is correct. It would go into effect immediately.
Not in October.
No.
That was the question.
I want to make sure I
Go ahead.
have an opportunity. I just want to make sure I have an opportunity. Director Reel, first, earlier you said something about 8 hours this and 8 hours that. Are you referring to the 8-hour floating holiday? Okay, so that is assigned, Carolyn's not here, but that's assigned to every employee at the beginning of the year. You have 8 hours and you can use them either all 8 at once or individual hours. If you don't use them, you lose them.
But you still get paid for them?
No, if you don't use them, you lose them.
Okay, well, that's why I said there was a confusion the way it was stated in that paperwork. It said that at the beginning of January, it would go on your paycheck. So.
It's been in practice for a
Okay,
long,
so
long
this needs to
time.
be reworded because that was, to me, it looked like you were getting paid at the first of the year. You didn't use it, it didn't matter because you already got paid.
We're talking about the 8 flowing
8
hours. Yeah.
flowing
It's,
hours,
you
yes.
use it or lose it.
Right, so it should just be restated there with that, because to me, it sounded like you were getting paid because it was going on your paycheck. That's how I read it.
Yeah, it goes on the books, but okay. If there's a way to reword it, we will, but I rest assured, it's a use it or lose it type of thing. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yes, thank you, Don. Yeah, what Director Reel and I discussed yesterday is that I would simply insert a couple of words in that sentence. The 8 hours will appear on the first payroll check as a credit in January and must be used during the calendar year or the time will be forfeited.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
You bet. Just trying to help.
Okay, there was a question of why now? It's just in my nature, folks. I don't just think about things when I wake up. I love this district. I've served my grandparents, I've served my parents, I served my kids, and now I serve my grandkids. I don't just think about things when I wake up. I think about things way in the future. I'm signaling to this board and to this community that I'm 61 years young, healthy. I love this place. I love what I do. And I want to work for 5 more years at least. I'm letting you know now. No reason to wait. The board collectively has an option to not approve it. They don't have to go for this. I'm just telling you how I feel. That's why now. Why a recommendation? Because I just said, I love this district. I love representing the ratepayers, and I do recommend that you do keep me on for 5 more years. That's why I make this recommendation. You've never seen a more consequential time in TUD's history under my leadership here. You just haven't. I'm not bragging. I don't like to brag, but that's just the facts. All of the successes, the awards on the wall, all the things we got going on, the hundreds of millions of dollars of grants that have come in, yeah, I think I'll recommend myself for another 5 years.
No, thank you.
Morale, Director Ringen was absolutely correct about the morale a few years ago. And I have worked my tail off along with my fellow managers. And now today, the morale has never been so good. Never been so good. Everybody here is walking in lockstep. They understand the mission, the vision, and the goals. They understand the plan, and 100% lockstep. So yeah, the morale is good. Severance pay, I want to hold tight. You want to move it to 8 months? Again, I'll reiterate. I want to work here for 5 more years. I don't want to capitalize on this. What I want to do is prevent personal conflicts because for whatever reason, for a board to make some rash decision to terminate a contract before it's up because of a personal vendetta. I want to prevent that. That has real life consequences monetarily to the ratepayers. It sets us back time and time again. Believe me, I've sat through it. I've witnessed it time and time again. We've lost some really darn good general managers in my time, unjustly, in my opinion. I just don't want to be the next one. I've had some amazing performance evaluations twice by this board and by several other boards. My performance evaluations are stellar. So there's no reason, the way I see it, to stick with the severance plan, just to keep the politics out of it. If I'm doing a good job, it'll show up in my performance evaluation. And if I'm not, I'll be happy to go. So.
Thank you, General Manager.
You went with, I was 18, you're at 8, I'll go to 12.
Okay. I have a couple of things to say. So the board is in a contentious situation right now, as you all are aware. We have 3 board members up for reelection at the end of the year, in November. The history, which I don't know personally because I wasn't here on the board, but in 2012, Pete Campa was the general manager, and he did have a severance package, and he was voted out. It turns out that no matter what these agreements say, 3 votes and you're out as a general manager. So that can be an issue. Director Ringen and Director Kearns mentioned that 2019, Ed Pattison was the manager at that point who did not have a severance package. And he was also voted out. There's a lot of opinions between the 2 directors as to what went on at that time. But what's clear to me is General Manager Perkins, who I think has done an excellent job in all the time that I've been here, is in danger if the 3 votes go against him. And so that's kind of why we're having the contention now. If we do a contract, at least he has a contract. Doesn't stop him from getting 3 votes and getting knocked out. But at least you have a contract and you let your top employee continue to do his job. The things that he mentioned were the first things on Director Ringen's list, the first, as I've heard it, the first thing on Director Kearns' list, the first thing on General Manager Perkins' list. We've been negotiating with PG&E for apparently at least 26 years, and nobody's been able to bring that to close. Also, Board of BOR, and we've been negotiating with them for longer than that. Bureau of Reclamation for the New Maloney. And those negotiations are coming along pretty good. He just finished the plant, the sewer plant, and is in the process of building the water plant. So I would love to see that continue. I think several of us would like to see that too. As far as details on here, we didn't talk about the medical plan, but the medical plan is the same as every other employee gets. So that's not different. We should go on from here. I'm glad that you get to go last, Director Jacobs, but we do need to hear from you. What is your opinion?
Well, I would love to hear from what the board members are. I know we're a small county, couple 100,000. It sounds like a whole lot of money, and it is. I'd love to hear what the community members have to say.
They
But I'd like
can't go first.
I'd like to add on to what you said and what General Manager Perkins said, and I'd like staff to refresh my memory on, and Carol's not here, but maybe someone else can come up with a number. We recently completed a negotiation with our employees, and the feedback I heard from the what's his name, the union representative?
Negotiator?
Union representative?
Josh Lepper.
Joshua Lepper. The feedback I heard was, in all his experience in negotiating labor contracts, this is the only agency that he's ever dealt with in his history that received a unanimous approval for a employment agreement. This unanimous approval is an agreement that lasts for 5 years that locks in a stellar staff, an agreement with the stellar staff for the next 5 years. That gives us every ratepayer stability and assured continuity for all the things that we're about to do here. So typically, most agencies, public districts, when negotiating union contracts, they bring in an outside negotiator. And typically that can cost, I don't know what the number is, but could be hundreds of thousands of dollars or $100,000. A lot of money. Anyway, our general manager was successful in doing this negotiation without bringing in a high-powered, high-priced union negotiator. The results, as we're talking about morale and how important it is, he was able to, we were able to get a contract for 5 years that's fair, that's reasonable, that the employees, again, 100%, that's huge.
Yeah.
100% approval. Guaranteed for another 5 years. And the potential savings to the district as a result of those negotiations are, who can give me a number? How many millions did we save that we could potentially have spent? Anybody got a number that can recall? Maybe Carol.
Is that
and
so?
Pardon me?
Director Jacobs, so is that the last point on there? Or do you have some others too? I agree with you on that, but.
Yeah, so yeah, do we have anybody that knows how many million we could have potentially saved by this?
That's
I
a
know it's
tough
tens
call.
of millions. Okay, tens of millions. So we save the ratepayers hundreds of dollars annually, maybe thousands of dollars annually by getting this negotiation completed. And that is due in large part to General Manager Perkins. So I do support that we renew his contract. As far as the details, I'm open to doing what's fair and just, but I would love to hear what the community has to say, because it's a big deal.
Do we vote first or hear community first? All right. Thank you, Director Jacobs. So it is time now to hear from the community on this subject. We can go 3 minutes or 2 minutes, but you guys have waited all day. We'll go 3 minutes and take as long as it takes.
Do we want a break?
Good morning, Elaine Hagan, Tuolumne. I don't know you. I know nothing about you. I can't speak to the kind of job that you're doing, but you've been here for a long time and it seems like they appreciate you. You talked about morale. The morale of the community is not so hot. We're really irritated that our TUD bills are so high. $211,660. That's 4 times the pension that my husband and I make. We're a community of really hard-working, retired people. We are one of the poorest counties in the state. I don't feel that that pay is realistic for the populace. We have a hard time paying our TUD bills on our pension. We're talking $100 a month. I think for you to get $1 million life insurance policy, I'd have to cancel my husband's so that we could afford to pay that. We're having a hard time paying our medical costs. I feel like paying yours at 90% for the rest of your life is obscene. I think an 18-month severance package is ludicrous. You're either doing an awesome job or you're not. And it sounds to me from your comments almost as if you were using this as blackmail for them to keep you because it would be more expensive to replace you. And I'm sure that you're awesome, but you're either awesome or you're going to get fired, and I shouldn't be the one being held responsible for that. Quite frankly, this came across as very obscene. Fortunately, one of the community members alerted us. Many people were not able to get off at 9 o'clock in the morning or to make comments in time. My general thought is let them eat cake. That's how it comes across to the public. And on a totally separate issue, the sniping that you people do is ridiculous. It's offensive to us. We're sitting here listening and you're that. I commented that her grandchildren snipe less than this. It's offensive to the public. We pay you and you don't have the common civility to speak to each other with common courtesy. That's disgusting and you should stop it. Let them eat cake.
To apologize, I didn't give us a break before doing this. Let's take just like a 10-minute break. You okay with that? Nobody needs to go to the bathroom or anything?
We need to go back.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll wait. You want to go to the restroom? Yeah, that's. Okay. It's right on you. It is. It's a bathroom break. A break.
How long?
10 minutes.
This matter was just brought to my attention, let the House sit and rush without hearing aids.
Oh, 10 minutes. Yeah.
So how long?
Just 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay, then.
Yeah, just to. So we can do it all at once. It's going to be at least a half hour. Bye.
Are we gonna have to end them?
Huh?
We can have- Travis?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just gonna force it. Right. I'm sure.
just forward them for 2 weeks. Have everybody back. Do we have everybody back here? So we'll reconvene. And we're listening to public comment on this issue. So who would like to go next?
So this was put together last night before being able to listen to everybody here today. But what I wanted to start out with is Tuolumne County's average income is 72,000. The poverty rate here is 10.7. When you figure out what the general manager is making right now, he is still making 2.5 times what the average income is. And I totally agree with the comment that I am a single person. I am living on a Social Security that is less than $1,000 a month. So you tell me how I am supposed to be able to make things work. And every time that there's a raise, whether it's in his rates, whether it is something that needs to be done for TUD and improvements or whatever, that ends up falling back on our shoulders, the ratepayers' shoulders. And so that's why you're going to have oppositions to your agreement that you want signed now, which I agree with Mr. Ringen. It's like, why now? I mean, to me, and looking at some of the totals and the amounts and everything that are in there, I mean, it just read a red flag. I mean, red flag. It's like, why? I think that the board members need to evaluate all of these things very deeply and choose what's right, what's wrong, what's fair. I do know that 2 of the board members are up there without a vote. They were given the position because nobody ran against them. But that's not going to last. That will, the next time you're up, you will have to face the ratepayers, whether you've worked for them or not. And you do work for us. You get along and you make things work with your general manager, but we are the ones who vote you in. What I've noticed when I became involved and paying attention to this was watching the meeting on March 31st. There were pros and cons, opinions, and things that were going on. One of the things that was brought up riled your general manager to where his reaction surprised me. And it was the suggestion that the bylaws weren't being followed by the GM. And then when there was another suggestion on a Sierra Pines, is my 3 minutes up already?
Wow.
Well, anyway, the Sierra Pines development, then that also caused a to-do. But my opinion in all this is I really think this agreement that he wants signed today needs to be tabled. Wait until October when he is going to have an evaluation and then have board discussion and vote on it then, because this is crazy. A lot of those things that are on what he wants as his agreement are not even understandable by the majority of us, the ratepayers.
Thank you. Who would like to talk next?
Hi, my name is Kendra Neff, and I'm asking Jeff Kearns up there to vote no on the general manager employment agreement. These are some of my reasons. A performance review has not been done and isn't due to happen until October. I mean, this is not any offense to you. It just, his salary is going from 190 to $211,660.80 per year. But you said that's how much you get paid now? So how did that happen? So that was an increase of over $21,000, 11%. His administrative leave would go from 40 to 80. You guys already discussed that. And you discussed his health care and his life insurance. The board will evaluate the performance of the employee at 6 months and 12 months from the appointment in October. When was the last time you were evaluated? Why are you jumping the gun on this package? Shouldn't you wait until October to even consider giving him such a generous package? You talked about severance pay. It is the responsibility of the board to be fiscally responsible. This employee's package is already very generous without a performance review. How can you even consider such a lavish package? The board is supposed to represent its constituents. With this extremely generous package be used as one of the justifications for a rate increase to its customers, and I'm sure it will be. One more comment. Sitting through this meeting, and as Elaine said, I am disappointed in the animosity shown to Director Ringen by at least 2 of the board members, all elected by the ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to comment?
This board has established that this isn't a complete document, so you can't vote on it today. So I'm not going to make the argument about why it can't be voted on. You've already said it's not complete. It wasn't complete for us either. It's not an attack on a person. It's a criticism of the elected board that's burying the item deeply in this agenda that increases expenditures rather than taking a sincere fiscal look at the problems, waste, and over expenditures where they exist. This is why TUD rates are so very high. TUD has a pattern of padding salaries prior to retirement, administrative salaries, I'll add. Prior to retirement, the cost is forever in our rate hikes. So here's some critical questions that need to be answered. How can you approve or even act on this without supplying? I don't believe you can today. 2, the contract doesn't indicate if you're going to make these pay increases or the leave increases retroactive. It's unclear why you didn't come up with a new contract. I really believe you need to have a review and then present a new contract that's clean, that we can read, so we're clear about what's on it. I hate the 18-month severance pay, resent it all the way. When you have, and you've established, and I know, Don, a very good employee, there should be no problem at all with what's currently in there of the 6 months, which I don't even like, but that doesn't matter because I've approved many a contract that said 6 months severance pay, 6 months or less. If they don't have 4 months left, that's what you pay. So what was in there and stricken should stay. And then more vacation days. Total would give him 24 days. That's a month. You know, when you count the 5 days a week, that's a month leave. That's a month altogether. That's a whole heck of a lot, and it's way too much, and you've already commented on that. I disagree with the TUD paying 90% of the healthcare using pre-tax money for life. That has what has driven the rates up today. I'm really clear on the earlier plan where you're vested in 5 years, which was really the disaster for what you're rate paying today because of other retirements and because of those plans. This is the very kind of thing that really undermines everyone and people that aren't going to be able to pay their insurance because of it. Why this enormous life insurance increase? But it sounds like that's DOA, dead in the water, so I'll pass that. The state of California saw that utility companies are raising fees too high. Proposition 218 passed. TUD has to follow the Proposition 218 process to raise the rates. And once we determine these higher costs, you can now go in and say, we need another rate increase. You know what? People are out there suffering. People are out there not paying their bills. There's people that are getting their water cut off. TUD does have waste. And if you ever want people to expound on that, we shall, where there's areas that you can clean up some of those problems. So a lot of the other questions have been covered by the various members that have spoken. So I would encourage you, of course, not to take any action on this, but to do your review first, a clean contract, not not renewing a contract that's only got 4 months left on it. Make a clean, legal contract that all of us can read, because we did not have all the information, and you all pointed that out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, well, that I object to it entirely and that I think it's grifting.
Anyone else who would like to speak?
Hi. A lot of you already know me, but anyway, I've known Don and his wife for many years. We've been friends and he's a good guy. Michelle's a good gal. But, so it's not anything personal. It's just any general manager that would be up there. I didn't realize that you were getting that much from here. It looked like you were getting your $21,000 increase on that. But, I agree with a lot of the things that the board said as far as going back to 40 hours, not 80. And the insurance, that's what other employees get, some of those, and not the $1 million life insurance. There's no business or anything, and he has to support or whatever. So I think $1 million is a little bit excessive, a lot excessive. The 2 times is what everybody else gets, so I don't see anything, shouldn't get anything more than that. And I guess the other is a clarification on the, section 7, I guess. So in general, yeah, the board just has to be diligent in what they do, because like some of the others say, we're not Marin County or San Francisco or whatever. We do have to do our due diligence as far as pay. And changing titles just to get more pay is wrong also. I'll just add that in there. So, but other than that, you guys have fairly well compensated or, made your remarks on the other things. So I agree with you on that. Thanks.
Thank you. Do you have anyone else who would like to speak?
Hi, my name is Don Bellotti. I'm used to filling a room, so I'm not going to stand really close to this microphone, okay? I've never been to one of your board meetings. I found out about this early this morning and I kind of ran over, so I've got no facts, I've got no figures, I've got hearsay. Some years ago, I was having a conversation with a TUD employee who was about to retire. And she explained to me her retirement package. My jaw dropped. I could not believe her retirement package. So all these years, whenever I write my monthly check to TUD, I'm thinking, I'm paying for people's retirement packages. I'm paying for the benefits liabilities that the TUD has encumbered itself with. So when something like this comes up, no offense, but when something like this comes up, it just raises many red flags with me. You talk about morale. If I had that kind of benefits package, my morale would be high too. You talk about grandkids and grandparents. The over 30% rate increase that we've had over the last few years is killing grandparents and grandkids. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other public comment?
In these current economic times, when families are going hungry, when benefits are being cut, I find it very arrogant of you to ask for what you're asking for.
Or anyone else? Thank you all. We'll bring it back to the board and decide what to do here. So we've all put our 2 cents in for what we'd like to see. We can take it to a vote. The new news to me was that this would go into effect now and before a performance review went into place in October. So that makes me a little less likely to go for this at this time. Any other comments on that?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we table this until the evaluation time.
I'll second that.
we have a motion from Director Reel and a second from Director Ringen. All in favor? Oh, no, wait, we have to do it by one at a time. I say yes.
Director Jacobs? Director Kearns?
I'm sorry, did I missed the first part of the roll call vote?
It's for tabling it until after a performance review has been done.
And what was the count there until?
So far, I'm saying yes. Director Reel made the motion, Director Ringen seconded it. I said yes, I think,
Jacobs, he abstained.
and Director Jacobs abstained. So we have
Okay,
some more
all
votes
right.
to get.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it broke off there for a second, the volume, so I missed that part. Okay, I approve as well.
Director
I approve.
Director Ringen?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Passes
4-1
for
to table the
4-0-1.
evaluation.
Okay. We have a couple other pieces of business, but we've been here a long time. We're willing to put those on to the next meeting. Thank you for your participation today. We do appreciate it.
Okay, so hold on 1 second. I just want to make sure I heard that right, Jeff.
Okay.
We're going to table the coach's corner and basically items number 6 and number 8, correct?
That's correct. It's,
Okay.
we don't want to keep people here any longer.
Yeah.
We'll do those at the next meeting.
All right, thank you.
Okay. With that, we're adjourned.